Hello, everyone. My name is Olivia Estelle. Welcome to our live Q&A here today. It is great to see you all. If you are interested in chatting, head on over to the live chat. I have some kind of fun ideas for today, doing some mini readings if you guys are interested. Hello, Sunshine. Good to see you here. So, an interesting hello, wise child. I love that. So, for the past few days, ever since last Wednesday, and it ends on Monday, but ever since last Wednesday, Mars has been squaring Jupiter and and opposing Pluto. So, for the past week, things have been tense in the energy has been a little tense. Now I really feel like this energy has been propelling us forward into action and giving us energy to take action on things. But just know it has been intense, and Mars stays squaring Jupiter yeah, until Monday. It's almost out of orb with Pluto opposing Pluto, but these have been kind of like a volatile week. And today and yesterday, Mars has been next to the moon, so it means emotional. It's been an emotional past few days, yesterday and today. If you have felt maybe like irritable or irritated or just kind of like maybe a little bit more inflammation or anger than you usually have. Mars next to the moon's emotions, and Mars is like action. So it's like yin and yang, they're right next to each other. It's just not a super comfortable place to be all the time. It could be, that you're like, I want to get a lot done, but I also want to just lay on the couch. I mean, there's probably going to be both things kind of blending there. And just know that Mars can also, it's known for anger, and the moon being in the emotions. Just know if that has been your day, it is over. It is off the moon tomorrow. So you should maybe feel better tomorrow. But the intensity kind of continues for a few more days. Hello, Isabel Lopez. Hello, Mimi7914. Wise child, Mars is my chart ruler and I've been purging like crazy. Yeah, that would I think that would make sense because it's opposing Pluto. And it's doing this for everyone. Everyone is feeling Mars opposing Pluto. You should see where Mars and Pluto are in your chart, which house, because those are going to be the areas of life they will affect you. You could probably pull that up online somewhere, but those houses, and then it's opposing Jupiter, and Mars square Jupiter could be, you're put under pressure to take action in order to rise into your abundance, in order to seek out the abundance that you have always dreamed of, in order to actually chase your dreams. It gives us the energy to chase our dreams. But opposing Pluto, it's kind of pressurized. It's put under pressure. And so that chasing our dreams is probably going to look a little bit more like shadow work than we had bargained for. So just know that if that's kind of what you've been feeling, like an intensity. Yeah, it's interesting you were saying kind of purging. That makes sense because Pluto is kind of like detox. Pluto is a detox. Mars is the inflammation. It's like it's just all kind of coming to the surface. It's really coming to the surface so that you can work with Jupiter, your biggest dream. So really get into, what your dreams are, because you're ready to kind of let go of things that are keeping you away from them, keeping you away. Actually, what has been coming up for me is fear. So we're really being pushed to kind of take action to push through our fears. Because it's, Mars and Pluto are like this kind of war-like energy. And then you have Jupiter over here. Jupiter is like a guardian angel, wants to give us our dreams, wants to give us, our biggest, it's a big benevolent giver. And so in order to get there, in order to get into our dreams, it means we're going to have to push through fears. And so and really feel the stuff we've been trying not to feel, whether that's old stuff, old traumas, or whether it's just plain, kind of brass tacks. How am I holding myself back? It's probably mindset. This stuff is probably mindset related. Not always, depending on where it would be on your chart. But right now, kind of in the world, everyone's mindset is really where the work is. I mean, people can really anchor in, people anchor in lower states of being through mindset, through mental habit. And we're not always aware of what our mental habit is until we get into mindfulness, until we get into, practicing mindfulness. And I call it a practice because we're not perfect at it. It's not easy right away. We don't master it right away. It's something we do every day. And that's hello, Starry. And so that's kind of something I wanted to get into today. I just wanted to kind of walk through how I meditate and what that looks like for me. And if you guys wanted to doing a guided meditation together to just kind of get into that heart space, because that's really what it is. It's about kind of moving out of the mind and into the heart. So when I was talking about, mindset and kind of getting the mindset right, it has a lot to do with we get our mindset right if we're feeling our feelings, if we're making our heart our habit. Okay. And so that's kind of what that means. Now, there are some, mindfulness that I will go into throughout the day where I'm like, wait, I had no idea that I thought this about myself, or I had no idea that I had, such kind of a habitual, negative tendency. And that's what mindfulness gives us. Mindfulness gives us the ability to start catching these things in action in our day. It's not just about sitting there daily and being perfect. It's about growing into a practice where we actually are able to kind of catch where we hold ourselves back in the day. And to take it further, to take it kind of one step further with this Mars opposing Pluto and then squaring Jupiter, another thing that I feel like that would give us the opportunity to really get into our habits. So it has to do with building out almost like spiritual habits that support you so that your mindset so that we can relax enough to be mindful. And then that's when we can address our mindset. Okay, because we have to kind of reach a certain level of energy, a certain level of healing before we can even really address our mindset. We'll just kind of let things go, or it won't necessarily click. But when we're clear, when we build up, these habits, these good habits, that's when the mindset becomes, and we're relaxed because our nervous system is regulated. That's when we can start really working on those things that hold us back from our biggest dreams. So meditation being one of my favorite habits to build in with this, what I do personally, and this has changed throughout, the years, but these days I like to do, a daily sit, kind of like a formal practice, but then practicing throughout the day, kind of keeping it with me throughout the day. But in I like to sit in the dark, and so I like to use a blindfold mask just to kind of use the darkness for meditation. And then I like to do body scanning. I'll switch between body scanning and Anapana. And if you guys know me, I really talk about this all the time, but Anapana is focus, is meditative focus. I really believe in building the ability to focus and to sustain focused states Because if you look at the world around you, that's really what we're losing. We're losing the ability to concentrate. And Anapana gives us that ability. Anapana is just focusing on the breath in the nostrils. I learned this from my husband, Dr. Suman. I learned this from Vipassana meditation retreats. But practicing focus and concentration has been one of the most helpful things that I feel like that I have built, and I didn't really notice it right away. It wasn't like, oh wow, my whole life has changed. It has been small, gradual builds. So I want to make that clear about meditation is that it's not an overnight fix, it's not a band-aid, but it's a small, gradual build, kind of like therapy where it's like you just suddenly you feel better and it's like, well, why? I didn't do anything differently. Oh, but it's because I've been facing my feelings, I've been feeling my feelings. And something about that too, I've been really and something that Mars and Pluto will bring up is vulnerability. The intuitive development path and the work that I do is all depends on my ability to be vulnerable. And I have to be able to be vulnerable enough to feel my feelings, to feel what is going on in the moment. And I will admit, these past, few weeks, I've been realizing ways that I have been hiding from that, ways that I have been blocking, and really just kind of ingrained habits of blocking my feelings since childhood. And so anything really that I'm blocking in my emotional body is going to be blocked in the intuitive faculties, right? And that's why I talk so much about trauma healing for intuition development, because it's really about, if you want to kind of know how, you're doing on the intuitive path, see how are you doing on the emotional path, on the emotional vulnerability path. It's those kinds of practices that really take us to the next level. It helps us break through blocks and into growth. And that's what Mars and Pluto is all about. It's all about kind of busting through these blocks, but we kind of reach a critical point in order to do that. So I just kind of want to show you what I do. So I think in the next week, I'm going to be doing a 10-day guided meditation group if you guys are interested, where we're going to just meet every night, 9 p.m. Central Time on Zoom, and do kind of guided meditations for intuitive development, for growth, for all of these things. But the way that I meditate on my own and just kind of to set the energy, I like to close my eyes, take deep breaths, and really just make sure I'm not holding my breath. Really just make sure that I'm breathing, make sure that things are moving. And then I hold the intention to connect to my very highest and best good, to God, to the Christ at heart, to my guides, to my angels. And I just hold that intention. And I really just go into meditation with that, holding that meditation. And yes, hi Jojo Bean, breathing is so important. It really, when I am feeling anxiety or when I'm feeling stuck throughout the day, I tune into, am I holding my breath? I usually am. And holding my breath is how we suppress. Holding the breath is is something that we do when we're children, because that suppresses our emotion. That suppresses our intuition. So keeping the breathing going, tuning into what state we're in or what has just happened when we hold our breath. It is good information to have. It'll tell you a lot about kind of what is going on. So yeah, kind of what I wanted to get into Next is first of all, who wants a mini reading? Are there any questions in the chat that we can just kind of, dive into, that we can get into? I know the world is on kind of shaky ground politically now through mid-June. And so really about kind of what's about to happen is I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens. But yeah, okay. Hi, Isabel. Sometimes I feel like I'm being vulnerable in a healthy way, but then I wonder if it's unhealthy oversharing. And that's a really good point. Being vulnerable in a healthy way and then versus oversharing, I think that we get to a place that's a healthy way when we're good at vulnerability. So it's kind of like just keep practicing it and it won't. I feel like oversharing really only happens when we're not comfortable being vulnerable, or when we're not vulnerable enough often enough. And so that's kind of when we get in. If we're not vulnerable enough, I kind of tend to overshare, like in groups, if I, haven't had time to do a lot of my own kind of delving. And that's kind of when I tend to overshare. And so, yeah, so and Sunshine, what kind of question can we ask for the mini reading? Just kind of where you want me to go. What do you want me to focus on? Yeah. And so when it comes to being vulnerable in a healthy way, I would really check in on that by seeing how well I can stay in my own energy and how well I'm able to be vulnerable alone with myself, and kind of how often I'm making that a regular practice, especially if you're kind of new to this work, new to healing, new to intuitive development. That vulnerable piece is going to kind of come with trauma healing. And then unhealthy oversharing is really just kind of I think it's more of just like an anxiety response, really, to feeling too vulnerable, or like feeling like, oh, okay, so just kind of keep sharing. But also know that overthinking it, if we're kind of overthinking it and we're feeling vulnerable, and we're feeling shame or guilt, we don't really want to overthink it or worry too much about oversharing. We kind of want to just focus on not wallowing in shame, but instead coming into center and really being able to be with our own emotions. And I feel like that's what's being vulnerable in a healthy way. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So if you guys want a mini reading, just kind of ask what it is that, ask your question, ask what it is that you want me to focus on. So I have kind of something to go off of. Now, Sunshine, I would love to hear about my life purpose. Okay. So when it comes to your life purpose, if I just, tune in to your life purpose, we're working with a lot of light and happiness, and really getting into doing what I'm seeing like tarot cards, I'm seeing like readings. You're able to really tune in to people, and it's about kind of practicing. It's about training and getting yourself comfortable. It's about building confidence at this time where you're building the sunshine. You're letting that light in through just kind of building that energy through that momentum. And so when it comes to life purpose, you're getting into areas of you're getting into areas of intuition. You're getting into areas where you're being able to share with people by kind of like I'm seeing by your shared experience and working through images. I'm seeing lots of like sacred images where so that's why I feel like tarot cards or just something that can help you kind of tune in and focus and give you something to study, give your left brain something to study. So that that is where that's where I'm really kind of pulling for you. And Alex, hi. um in the reading, you're funny. Okay, painful to listen to at times, but I learned a lot and you were well, thank you for that. And so I feel like with in readings, I'm really honored by you guys sharing, your life with me. And so I really come into doing readings with you all from a point of love. And it really isn't about I don't want you to feel any guilt. Like, I don't want you to feel bad or like you don't have to apologize. I'm really honored that you guys share your stories with me and then we get to work together and that your guides kind of work with my guides and we're able to just have a shared sort of time together in space because where where the work is it's like my energy mixes with my guides mix with your guides and it's kind of a shared building up the energy building up this energy so that we're kind of like almost high in a frequency to heal with kind of pulling this habit through. And so, yeah, you're doing really, really well. And it's for kind of just tuning in to you, Alex. It's really about kind of grounding and keeping the electricity grounded, keeping the grounding rod. It's like the lightning rod that needs to be there. And that's really just, yeah. And it's really just about it's really about staying grounded and stable and knowing that you're safe. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, never getting to talk to anyone who gets, kind of the stuff that I've been through. What gives us like unique experiences with people. And so yeah, I understand. I totally get that. Hello, Blue Alchemist. Hope everyone is doing well. Yes, life purpose. Hello, Story. How do we heal our physical bodies? How can we figure out why we are experiencing certain physical ailments and how can we heal it? For me, it's ongoing lower abdominal pain for 2 to 3 years now. Well, I feel that's a really good question because the physical and the health and the spiritual path are very connected. And it's really I they are you can't really disconnect the two. It's not really like we can just ignore physical health and just go down the spiritual path because our physical health is uniquely intrinsically connected. What I would say to that actually is I put down below this video a link to tomorrow my husband Dr. Suman. He is a naturopath, he's a holistic chiropractor. Tomorrow night, he is going to be doing it's a donation-based community holistic healthcare call on Zoom. So I would suggest hopping onto that and asking your questions, kind of getting his perspective on that. So for anyone interested in, asking, like talking to a naturopathic doctor, a holistic chiropractor about these questions, he can give you like actual things to do and you can hear it's kind of beautiful in a community healthcare setting. It's beautiful hearing other people's stories, other people's struggles will resonate and then their healing journeys will also resonate. So I would do that. But when I'm like just tuning in ongoing lower abdominal pain. What I'm getting, it has to do, so the abdominal pain is power, and physical, are the physical body is really, it's just a vehicle for our spirit. And ongoing abdominal pain, for if something is lasting for 2 to 3 years, it means that something has been suppressed. And so what happens, and it could be that it happened 2 to 3 years ago. It could be that this is from childhood, and that it's just expressing itself now. That could be possible. Or it could have been, something that happened 2 to 3 years ago. I'm actually kind of getting more something from childhood, and then maybe something triggered it. But it's more of kind of a childhood almost habit. And so it's almost like when we're ready to feel something, it kind of comes up from the stomach, because that's our emotional center, through the heart, our vulnerability center, and then up and out, either through express it, we speak it, or we cry, or we emote. And then when we're not wanting to do that, when it's either not safe because it wasn't safe when we were children, and we are smart children, we are brilliant little beings that know how to survive, we suppress it. We hold our breath. We swallow it. And it goes back down. And so kind of enough emotion that isn't being suppressed will push it down. Some people feel a lump in the throat. Sometimes it's chest pain. Sometimes it's abdominal pain. If we push it like down into the abdominal pain, mine was abdominal. I would have abdominal pain. Some people push it all the way down into the knees, right? And then you have hip pain and knee pain. And it's about expressing yourself. It's about moving the energy. What is it that you need to express or say or feel? It's going to be something that needs to be felt, to just kind of like let it come up. And lower abdominal pain, it's right there, kind of in the second chakra. It's in there, kind of where we kind of store the traumas, in that chakra, in the second chakra, right? So it has to do with creativity, and the second chakra issues, and those traumas there. And where we kind of move it is, we have to allow the vulnerability. We have to allow the self to feel it. Something that I will also add, something that I did last night, and so this morning also, and lower abdominal pain is not necessarily liver, but I did a liver gallbladder flush. I did the Hulda Clark liver gallbladder flush, where you drink the olive oil, and like lay down. I cannot recommend that enough. That in conjunction with parasite cleanses. It's springtime. So every spring, I like to tend to the liver. The liver also, helps us deal with digestion and colon cleansing. So, when it comes to just flushing, detoxing, any cleanses that you're drawn to, I would really suggest that, because what we have, we tend, when we suppress, kind of what we have going on will mirror itself in the form of physical parasites. And so it's like we have etheric and like astral entities, and astral and etheric parasites, and then they're attached to kind of physical ones. And so doing physical cleanses every year, liver cleanses, kidney cleanses, liver detoxes, and then really working on, making sure, like enemas, bowel flushes. Those are really important for just staying kind of like a reset, and so that we have a clear kind of slate to build on, in order to heal. You would be surprised what kinds of things will kind of clear and move. Parasite cleanses are probably something that everyone should do. It's like, if you eat any sugar at all, parasite cleanses. I mean, and even if you don't, if you've never done one, they're really, really kind of necessary, at least in American society. I can't really speak to anywhere else, but American society really needs parasite cleanses. It's mostly because of our water, and I'm drinking filtered water. But yeah, it's about the water. Okay, let's see. Where am I? Oh, good. Sunshine, you were thinking about buying tarot cards and developing intuition. Good. Yeah. So, wise child, I would love to hear about my life purpose as well. Yours feels like yours has I'm just seeing action, activity, movement, humanitarianism. You're like, um, it's something active. It's something where you're getting the blood pumping. You're getting, the movement is flowing. You're going to get into your life purpose by getting your blood pumping. So I don't know, it's almost like get into like a movement sort of practice, and that you're going to kind of connect with other people through that, and you're going to really kind of be teaching people how to, it's almost like how to move the blood. I don't know. It's but keeping the blood pumping by doing what you love. You're an artist. You're very artistic. I want you to get back into your inner artist. I'm seeing like art expression, almost like expression, and then almost like crying, like coming back to yourself. So it's like release, express, release, and just kind of move back into your artist self, wise child. Really, I heard the other day that adults are just degenerated children. And your name is wise child. It's like a part of you knows that and is here to harness that and remind other people. I'm just seeing like baby dolphins, right? So it's like get into the dolphin spirit guide energy. You're connecting with others. You're meant to have a network. You're meant to have a family. Your friends are your family. Okay. And so you're meant to just kind of work that way. You're meant to find your people, find your network, almost like in the like I'm seeing almost like a festival circuit or something like that, where you're able to just kind of move and connect with like-minded people, but still remain, grounded and healed. You're getting into your inner artist. Yes. Good work. Good work. Okay. Getting through it. Thanks so much. Love and tacos from Nola. Yes, tacos. Okay, Jojo Bean. I would love to know more about my guide. Sometimes I think I hear one of them, but I can't figure out how to understand what he or she is saying. It sounds like gibberish. Thoughts? Yeah, I I absolutely know what you're talking about. That's exactly how it kind of starts out. Okay, so really just kind of stay with it. What it sounds like, you are actually clairaudient. It sounds like you're actually listening and hearing, and you're because you're recognizing that it's not clear. You're recognizing that you're not hearing words, or it's not like formulating into something that you understand. And so that's good. That's really good. It sounds like your clairaudience is on. So what I would say, if it sounds, oftentimes my spirit guides will sound like it's coming through like water. It'll be kind of garbled because it's moving through the densities if I'm using clairaudience. So instead I would check your other clairs. I would do what I call a systems check. Check your other clairs, see what you see. See what you feel. Are things just popping into your mind? It's funny you said you go thoughts. I'm kind of seeing thoughts popping into your mind, like suddenly you're thinking of a story from when you were standing next to a tree and there was a tree swing and you're the happiest you've ever been in your life. And it's almost like, oh, it's that, this is what your guide is saying. It's talking about, being in the flow and getting back into what makes you happy. Right? And so kind of that's my That would be my description of an example of following a clear cognitive insight or a clear cognitive input. So instead of just trying to listen, see what you just know. See what you just know what they're saying. Because telepathy is related to clairaudience, and telepathy happens kind of at the level of knowing, right? It's just sometimes it'll push in and it's really clairaudient. But sometimes like when I'm talking with animals, you know, intuitively, it's really just I get pictures, I get knowings, I get little stories, I get little feelings, right? I'm not hearing, right? And another way, if you want to build, since it does sound like you're getting into that clear audience, get into music, get into listening and really listen, like get into like some deep listening practices where you're listening to music, you're kind of surrounding yourself in the world of sound, because that will really hone your focus on the clear audience, on the ears, on the inner ear, on the clear audience, and that will really amplify it. That will start to really amplify it, you know? Yeah, definitely. And sometimes I think, yeah, your guides, yeah, and I also want you to kind of tune in clairvoyantly and see what it is that you see. Like, what is the first, trust the first thing you get. I'm seeing like a woman, hair to here, like golden brown, like blonde, white clothes. Um, yeah, but just kind of see what you get when it comes to clairvoyance. You know, it's about trust. We're getting back. That's why I kind of started with the talk about vulnerability. It's about getting back into being able to trust yourself, trusting what you're getting, trusting your imagination. The imagination is the vehicle that your intuition rides in on. So really getting into that self-trust is going to pull that through. And yes, you're allowed to ask more than one question. Perfect. Isabel, I'd want to move out of the city. I'd also been looking to move out of the place I live in for a very long time, but I'm not sure which direction to go. Any insight? Okay, I'm seeing you moving, and I'm actually seeing kind of far. Like I don't know why I'm seeing maybe like you're when it comes to this question, it's about learning to hold the space, hold a bigger space. And so that might require travel first. Maybe I'm seeing you traveling first, and maybe traveling alone is what I'm seeing, just to kind of build that. It's like kind of facing that fear and then like learning to trust and learning to take the leap. And it's about kind of building that, being able to hold a bigger, like a wider sense of energy. And also, just so you guys know, that if any of these, when it comes to kind of mini readings for like in a gallery reading like this, if any of these things that you hear resonates with you, it's meant for you too. That's the beauty of gallery readings. You know, they're mini readings, but they're also, a gallery is also a sort of general collective input. And so if any of it kind of resonates, you're going to pick and choose, you're going to pick the things that are meant for you too. Okay? So definitely, yeah, I want to move out of the city. Um yeah, I'm seeing you moving out of the place you live in. And then which direction you go, I mean, I'm seeing west, like west direct. I'm seeing you traveling kind of west or south, like southwest. It's like, and then you find a place. It's like south and west for you. Those are kind of the directions that I'm seeing. But really, it's going to be, I think, about you visiting the places first and um, traveling first. Okay. Hello. Okay. Hello, Alex. What is it that keeps us from overcoming repetitive behaviors and habits, even if we can see how it looks from an opportunity cost perspective, be it physical or spiritual progress? Um, I'm not really sure what you mean from an opportunity cost perspective, but But I do know that when it comes to overcoming repetitive behaviors and habits, over like breaking habits, for example, like breaking bad habits, overcoming repetitive behaviors are things that used to work for us. Okay? Habits are things that used to work for us. They're usually coping mechanisms. Repetitive behaviors are things that we do, to survive. They're things that we do to cope. They are they are things that, you know, like if you're meaning like even though it like costs a lot or, we know that it doesn't it's almost like you know that it doesn't make sense, but you keep doing it when we're getting to that kind of place, if it becomes kind of like a compulsion, just know that there is something that we're not feeling. There's something that needs to be felt that will kind of pull us out of the coping mechanisms because repetitive behaviors are just kind of they help us suppress. They help us not feel because they're giving us something that is better than feeling something painful. Okay? And so when it comes to feeling something painful, which is really the key to everything, the key to growth, the key to physical and spiritual progress is being able to feel discomfort and being able to feel our pain. So my advice with that is to take that in small doses. It's not like don't don't let like a old perfectionistic kind of thing come forward and tell you need to do it all now. Feel what's hurting in small doses and just kind of what you can do. If you have a good cry, it usually doesn't last any longer than 20 minutes, right? And then if you're really focusing, and then kind of take a break, go do something else, grounding, or go just go kind of make sure do life. But it's like take it in focused sort of doses so that it's not taking over the whole day, because people that are like, no, I've been crying like all day, or I've just cried too long, it's usually because they're resisting it, and so they're not really crying. They're resisting crying, and so it drags it out and it puts it off. And so it just turns into this kind of half suppressed, miserable state. And then we tend to we start trying to cope with that through unhealthy, repetitive behaviors. And we just tend to just fall back on kind of whatever it is that will keep us from having to feel. And I think that this is completely universal question. Absolutely. So, hello, Blue Alchemist. I had an idea come to me last night to create a collaborative poetry book written by fellow students of the language in learning. Is this a viable idea for me to pursue? Absolutely. It's like a students of the language and learning a collaborative poetry book. Absolutely. Kind of coming into art. And also I'm seeing you using it's almost like conversational hypnosis, like the ways that conversational hypnosis is already being used. And then you're able to kind of use it for good, right? It's always good to use things, even if something is like evil or if the technology is iffy, it's always good to put it to use for good, right? And I'm not saying hypnosis is absolutely not evil, it is neutral, but it's when we don't know how it works is when it can be used against us. And so the um, poetry book is really turning this into beauty and using like being able to use this for beauty and make something beautiful out of it. So absolutely. And I'm seeing you starting it. I'm seeing you writing your own poetry book. It's really kind of about it. I think it will be collaborative, but I think it's your poetry book. And I think that this is your way of integrating the energy that you have been steeped in for a while. And is by putting it down on the page and turning it into something beautiful because it's your emotion. It's your emotional work. Okay. Hello, Rose. I feel myself inspired by the idea of pursuing a career in music. Is this part of my life purpose? Absolutely. And so, anytime that we love something or we love the idea or we're inspired by something, it's kind of it's because it lights up our purpose. That's why we like that's why we like it. That's why it lights us up. So I would really, Rose, I would really get into your why. And you're welcome, Blue Alchemist. I'm just kind of trying to keep up with the chat. So yeah, get into your why, Rose, about why you want to get into music, what kind of music, because it has to do with your heart. It has to do with you you're healing your heart, you're letting it out on to the page, you're letting it out into and sharing it with people. Okay, so getting into your why will really kind of help you get into your um into your focus and into your dedicated practice. So, yeah, I mean, I live in Nashville. The careers in music are, that is what people come here for. And there's lots of different things that you can do in music. And for you, I'm getting like sound healing. So, getting into merging sound and healing and music and your writing ability in a healing capacity. Okay. Absolutely part of your purpose. Oh, and also, Rose, you said I'm addicted to sugar. Yeah, I mean, sugar is meant to be addictive. And someone said, Alex said the parasite thing just clicked. Yeah, I mean, I really feel like our bodies grow them out of sugar. If you have an environment that is dark, warm, sugar, and then you have EMFs, right? Or whatever else, what other electronic stuff, our bodies just kind of grow them in the environment of sugar. And I'm not saying, be paranoid and never eat sugar. It's about balance. It's about you don't want kind of the overgrowth that sugar creates. It's about balancing the biome. And so yes, my husband, Suman, he's down here in the chat. Please join for all health and parasite questions. Please join us tomorrow. We're going to be doing a holistic healthcare group, and he can talk more about parasites and the microbiome because there is what Suman also does. He's also a meditation instructor. It's a mind body spirit healing, right? It's connected. These parasites and keeping the microbiome in balance has to do with kind of keeping our spirit in balance and our life in balance, right? It's the micro to the macro. It matters. And when I like find myself going out of balance, I usually see it happening around me too, kind of in my environment, and I just won't feel good, but I won't know why. And I'm like, okay, I need to do a coffee enema or a liver cleanse or, those just kind of my regular upkeep that actually in other cultures and in other eras, past eras, used to be a regular part of healthcare. That was actually health care. Sick care is kind of what we got going on now, but health care is actually, a more preventative and seasonal experience, like a seasonal detox, just like we see in nature, just like we see in the seasons. Okay. Hi, sunshine. I'm trying to move out from my parents' house and I'm scared. Will I be okay? Yes, you will be okay. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, you will be okay. And I want to say too that good for you. You know, it is the fear is there to try to keep you stuck, to try to keep you in one place. Our fear used to keep us safe. It's trying to keep us a barrier. My philosophy is that I have to face fear every day. I have to do something that scares me every day. You know, it's kind of part of why I'm doing this. You know, I'm just like, I don't know, why am I doing this? It's really because I'm a little nervous. Like I have a little bit of social anxiety. And so I'm going to just practice putting myself out there. And it used to be kind of a disaster. And my computer used to crash and I used to have to restart and all of these things. But now I'm moving more into a situation where I am less scared. And so what all it is, the fear is always way worse than the reality. And so what obviously you have to, get your financial, foundation set. So, get a job, make sure you kind of have that. I'm kind of seeing probably like a room shared with roommates. So it's like, or a room, shared with flatmates, I mean. So I'm kind of seeing whatever it is that you need to do to move out of your parents' house is going to be good. Okay. It's going to be for the best. And it's really just about feel the fear and do it anyway. Know that we're alive to feel this feeling. That's what my voice teacher tells me when I'm really nervous and really scared of singing. I mean, we're alive to feel fear feels a lot like excitement. So are you scared to move out of your house or are you really, really actually very excited about the freedom? Okay. So just think about that next time. And Mimi, how to do a parasite cleanse. I would say I have the link down below. Pop in tomorrow night to my husband's thing. He can go over that. He will go all over that. I could go on and on about that. I have done some videos, I think, about detoxing on my channel several years ago. So you could look there, but tomorrow night my husband will go, more into detail about how to do them, and what exactly we use and what we do. Yeah. And Starry, do we just Google? Yeah, I would come tomorrow to learn more about that. I just feel like if it is something that you're like, "Oh, yeah, that feels right," or "I've always thought about that," it's a really good thing to do, especially if you're having kind of like mental symptoms. If you're having mental either anxiety, overthinking, even over planning. Gallbladder can be over planning. The gallbladder flush that I did last night, I realized like I have a lot more of a like calm, like centered stream of inspiration for planning for my days, for my business, for my life, instead of like anxiety or just blah, 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 like a pressure. And so now things, are more more grounded. And I'm having kind of like more clarity, right? So that the pressure and the anxiety takes away from the sense of clarity for sure. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I'm kind of skipping down. Organic Olivia. Yes. Yeah. And other people in the chat definitely let people know what kind of stuff has worked for you guys for cleanses and detoxes. Okay, Mimi. So when it comes to, please let me know what you see in regard to me possibly moving where. So confused. Okay. When it comes to moving, where we are physically kind of has to do with where we are in ourselves. So I'm not really seeing you moving in a confused state. I'm seeing you getting clear where you are about your life and about, the situations there. And that will tell you about where to move, because what I don't want you to do is just be like, well, I don't know, I'm confused, and Olivia said to go here, so I'm just going to do it. I'm not wanting you to kind of give your power away on this question. I want you, when it comes to you possibly moving, I'm kind of seeing you staying still for a second and really getting clear about what you want. We don't really want to move in the energy of confusion. That's like when it's, what do we do when it's foggy out? We kind of slow down because we have to be able to see, right? I don't want you to like be making fast motions in a fog. I want you to, and it's like Neptune kind of like where when Neptune is around, Neptune is here to heal us ultimately, but it forces us to slow down in the fog. The fog will heal us, but it has to do with kind of being still and kind of taking stock in what you have right now, and that will let you know what you want differently, what you're ready to let go of, what you want more of. And so get into, when I'm seeing you staying still with kind of in a confusion, the easiest way to get out of confusion is to get into gratitude. Okay, so just kind of be really grateful, and that will kind of let you know, that will kind of lead you out of a fog and out of the confusion. And this, might take a while. So I'm saying don't rush it. Take as long as you need, to get more clear and get into kind of into yourself with this. So I hope that I answered it on several kind of different levels. I don't necessarily see you moving until you know what you want. And there's going to be life goals connected to those things. And I don't necessarily know that a move is necessary. So, okay. Jojo Bean, yes, I do feel things sometimes, and I sometimes just know things. I never knew what it was. Yes. Those are your clairs. The more we give them attention, the more they start like popping in for us. Just so you know, it's a really, yeah, that's what that is. So just kind of practicing that and taking, that into, in more, with more intentionality, that will start building, and you'll start, feeling more, knowing things in a more regular way. Hello, B. What is your take on psychedelics? Is there really any spiritual utility to them, or are they spiritual training wheels at best, or a demonic counterfeit at worst? Yeah, I don't, interesting. Psychedelics as spiritual training wheels. I don't really see psychedelics as spiritual training wheels. I see spiritual training wheels as things that are like tools to use, to kind of like vessels to kind of use. Um, Not necessarily psychedelics. I feel like what psychedelics do is that they teach us what is possible spiritually. But when it comes to any spiritual utility to them, that's really what I think that they're for. Like for psychedelics, it would be like for me, it would be like a once or twice kind of thing. And then I'm not really, I just don't really feel like I need them. Not that I don't need, and these can be really awesome, kind of experiences. I've really only done mushrooms, and it was amazing. I've done mushrooms. It wasn't even really like a heroic dose, but it was a big enough dose for me, and it was like 4 hours, and that was several years ago, and it was beautiful, and I felt connected, to the earth. But what it was is, there was a spiritual utility, because it kind of showed me the connection is real, really, like, and it showed me kind of like these states that I get into in meditation is possible with it is possible, period. And so, but really over time, it's like these things that I would see with on mushrooms are things that have just kind of become normal. Like it kind of becomes like a normal thing that I can mentally switch into, but that comes with relaxation. That comes with kind of being able to hold a relaxed state. But the psychedelics they kind of like blow you open and they show you what's possible. So you have to be careful. I don't think they're a demonic counterfeit. I don't think that they're a demonic counterfeit. What can happen though is that if people are already kind of residing in lower astral areas, that will be kind of what you meet yourself on psychedelics. Really, you meet yourself, and whatever is kind of unhealed, or whatever attachments maybe you have, or abilities you have, or things that didn't see, or entities hanging around, like you might see them depending on what psychedelic you're doing, right? But you meet yourself. And so just know that, are you at a point in your life where you feel strong enough to really meet yourself in like a blown open way? Because I teach people to meditate for the same reason. I teach people to meditate so that you can meet yourself, but in kind of like a slow build, where you also heal things on the way and you also grow. And so it's like someone meditating here is completely different by the time they get here. But if you're doing mushrooms here, you're not going to have the same experience as if you do them here after you've meditated for a long time and healed a lot. So it's different. People have different experiences, and the same person in different phases of their life and in different emotional states will have different experiences. I can't say like I recommend it or not. I just think it's up to you. I really don't like using these things personally, because I want to be able to, I want to be able to build these abilities organically on my own. But that's just, yeah, that is my take. But I'm not against them. I'm really not. I feel I'm a Gemini, so I'm like, I like trying things, and I feel like psychedelics are one of them. But I'm like a try it once kind of person, you know? And I really don't think that labeling them in the extremes is accurate, you know? I think that they can be any of those things, but it just depends on how you use them, depends on your intention. So go into any of those experiences with an intention, with a spiritual intention. Go into it with an intention of high spiritual growth. Okay, because you're going to meet yourself, and it can be intense. Okay, so yes, perfect. um Hello, Cici Valcheva. Hi, Olivia. We have been trying to conceive for over a year and a half with no luck. I'm taking supplements, going to acupuncture, eating more fruits and veggies. Thank you, Olivia. Blue Alchemist. Even speaking with a therapist about childhood trauma. Do you or my guides have any advice for me at this time? Yeah, I am really sorry to hear about that. I know that conceiving, that journey is very painful. It's kind of, I'm glad you're going to acupuncture, because that's totally what I would have suggested. I know what I'm seeing a timing thing. So when it comes to conceiving, I'm seeing it's like timing and hormones. It looks okay. Eating more fruits and veggies. It has to do kind of with the timing, because the soul, it's like the soul that wants to come in, to you, is on their own divine timing. And just know that and I see it happening. Like I really do see it happening. But I feel like they have their divine timing. It might be like December of this year. So it's like it not going to really matter, but keeping like hormone health, like a hormone balancing diet, kind of at the forefront, to really prepare, like to really prepare the body, prepare the hormones. That's, yeah, I really feel like it's going to happen. And two, it's like the connection with the little soul. It is a co-creative thing. And so what I want you to just get into really, um almost like letting go, like let go of it, and get into gratitude, and get into really just like positivity, so that it doesn't just crush. I don't want this process to crush you, especially because there might be a little bit more of a wait time. So it's like, just definitely, acupuncture, all of those things. and um and the hormone balancing. Okay, yes. Wise child, do fruit and honey count as sugar? Are we talking about processed sugars? I don't count fruit and honey when I'm talking about sugar. Well, you can overdo anything. Okay, you can overdo anything, but that's not what I'm talking about processed sugar. I'm talking about, yeah, talking about processed sugar. Let's see. Sunshine, could you tell me where I am moving, please? You're moving out. You're moving out of your I'm not really seeing you moving. I'm seeing you moving in with people you know. I don't know that I'm seeing it that being that far. It's like we kind of have baby steps. Okay? So don't think of everything as like a permanent situation. Think of it as, okay, I faced one fear and I've made one move, and that's good. So it's probably not going to be too far from home at first, and then from there, I'm seeing you being able to have more options. Planet Moolah, hello. Was it love at first sight with your husband, or did it take a while? It was totally love at first sight, and it also did take a while. So we met at a past life regression retreat. That was where I learned how to do past life regressions. We learned how to do it together. And then we were actually put into the same group for the very last day. We were put in the same group. And it was the other girl that was doing, there were three of us, and she was facilitating him, and he started saying, "Oh, and there's this woman here, this blue lady, and she's talking to me." And I just remember sitting there, and this was really, I wasn't super awakened then. Like I had just started, but I remember sitting there like, "Oh my gosh, it's me." I could see my face, my blue face talking to him, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." But then I felt so like egotistical for thinking it was me, and so I was just like totally embarrassed. And it wasn't until later when we were dating, like I think we were already engaged, when I admitted to him that I thought that was me. Oh my gosh, I'm so like embarrassed. I'm like pretty egotistical. And he was like, "No, that was totally you. I was just too embarrassed to ever say anything." He was like, "I thought it was you." And I was like, "Oh," so we had like this moment, where it was like, but both of us were kind of, we didn't talk about it then, because the blue lady was talking to him about, "I'm going to be with you later, and just, be patient." He wanted to know about his love life, right? And so it was just a super awkward, awkward kind of situation. And then I had actually, yeah, there was just, we ended up, with children. Here we are. Yes. Okay. Starry, thanks, Olivia. I would also love to know about my life purpose and what career I'm supposed to go into. Okay, so when it comes to life purpose and career, where well, first of all, you chose the name Starry as a name. So I'm wondering about astrology for you. I feel like you would make a very good astrologer. So when it comes to life purpose and career, I'm feeling like astrology, but there's also like a niche. There's also like a nursing tone and vibe to you, or with this question. And so it's not about what career you're supposed to go into. This life purpose is about what you love, and about getting down into the brass tacks of what you love. Okay. Hello, Dana. I'm super late. That's funny. You are funny. Divine timing, Dana. Hello, Melanie9. Hello, Sam3. Perfect. Starry, do you meditate daily, and how long do you meditate for? Would you say meditating is the best way to developing psychic abilities? Or how can we develop our psychic abilities for beginners? Yes. Meditating is definitely going to be the best way to develop psychic abilities. That is the one thing that you have to be able to do, because meditation is relaxing and it's focusing, and that's what you need for psychic ability. You have to be able to kind of hold a relaxed enough state, but then a focused enough state. And so I have some videos about, intuition development on my channel that you can kind of get into. I have like a intuition development, like free intuitive development for beginners. Really does start with meditating and meditating properly. Like I started with guided meditations because that's what brought my kind of anxiety down. But then getting into meditating in a way that you are focusing and kind of training the mind to let go of its tangents and come back. That's the work. Really, that's the work, is letting go of the tangents and staying still enough to hold kind of like the still, stable ability to receive. And so, yeah, that is going to be meditation and psychic development. Okay. Hello, Dana. I haven't been feeling my guides lately. Why the radio silence? So when it comes to feeling our guides, and that's a really good question. When it comes to feeling my guides, I don't feel my guides when I'm either in my head too much, if I'm overthinking, if I'm all up here, and if I'm not feeling. It's like there's something that needs to be felt. There's something that needs to come out. It's like, let it off your chest. There's something we want to let off your chest. Something that needs to be felt. And I would say there's a fear about expressing. And so whatever you need to say, maybe you don't express it to the person. It's like the person that needs to hear it, maybe not able to hear it. And so you know that, and you're protecting them and protecting their feelings. And so you're holding it in. I'm seeing you writing it down, or I'm seeing you meditating it and just letting yourself feel it, like feel the pressure and crying, like letting it out, knowing the truth of your experience. This is something old, but it just got triggered, the not feeling the guides. And there's also, again, like I think earlier, and I think you missed it actually. It's funny that you're late, Dana, that you just came in, because there's parasite cleansing and like liver, gallbladder flushes to kind of flush, and as well as like colon cleansing and flushing. It clears the slate physically, so that we can kind of clear the fog spiritually. And so I feel like when I don't feel my guides, it's because I'm not feeling, and that's, what is it? So I would ask yourself, what is it that I need to feel right now? And then if you're like, I don't know, tune into your body and what is the most prominent sensation, and focus on that, and let that lead. Okay. You guys, oh, that's so cute and sweet. Yeah, I think you guys are responding to my story about my husband. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. So, hi Tamara, good to see you. Hi Olivia, do you still see me moving into my own home? I've been working so hard to get my girls and I out of the place we're in. Yeah, there's a lot of moving questions. Is everyone moving? Are you guys all moving? So I do see you moving into your own home. And I really feel like it's like after June, wait, like July and August is when things are going to be a little bit more kind of stable with housing market, and just stable with you knowing kind of where you can go. And I feel like that would be the time rather than like pressuring yourself, know. You're gonna know when you can get out. You're gonna know when you can get out of here. And guys, yeah, this Mars Pluto, with Jupiter, that's like a moving, that is kind of, you want to like move the energy. It's not Uranus. Let me see. Uranus is usually the thing that makes us feel antsy, but Mars will also make us feel very antsy. Mars opposing Pluto square Jupiter will make us feel pretty antsy kind of in our situation that we're in. And it's really about kind of being able to feel where we are in order to move to something better. Okay. Yes. Hi. Sunshine. I am a Gemini, but I'd love to know who my guide is, please. So if I just tune in, so first of all, the sun, right? Your name is Sunshine. If I'm just kind of tuning in to your name through your name, Sunshine, you're working with the sun, with solar energy, and with Gemini, your guide. I'm seeing there's two people. So you have, and it's like they can kind of be one or male and a female. Okay. And so you're working with whatever masculine or feminine energy that you need in the moment, is there to kind of help either, give you energy and action or stability and quiet. And that's kind of how your guide, just kind of how I see your guide working with you. And so it's like this, yeah, it's like this beautiful being that is able to kind of bring forward whatever energy, um, masculine or feminine, that you need. Hi, Sophia Kane. I'm wondering if you have any insights on me homeschooling my 5-year-old. We tend to clash. He's a Cancer and I'm a Scorpio. It's my dream to do this. It's just so challenging. Yeah, I feel ya. I feel ya. I think homeschooling really is the way to go. And 5 years old, Cancer and Scorpio. Oh my gosh. Two water signs. So what's going to happen is that he's probably going to be all in the feels and you're not going to really be able to kind of get what you want done. Um, yeah, because he's going to be, like in his, and what I'm seeing is not interrupting his rhythm. Don't interrupt his rhythm. Don't interrupt his emotional pattern. Go into homeschooling by observing what he does in the day and see what he likes to do. Kind of like hands off. So have like a few days or maybe even on the weekend, kind of see what his tendencies are. Does he wake up super early and he's already drawn and read and done a bunch of things or whatever, and then by 11 a.m. he's like done? Or does he kind of like to be chill in the morning or play outside in the morning and then later on he's ready to focus after he's run around? It's kind of like follow his lead and don't interrupt his train of thought is kind of what I'm getting, because really it's don't interrupt his feelings. We're going to want to let that Cancer kind of move, let their feelings lead them and let their feelings move them. And so it's going to be a lot of, what do you feel like doing? Let's be in the moment together. And if he's coloring all day, just leave it, and so I'm not seeing you like being able to hold him down to curriculum the way that you've been taught or the way that maybe you want to, but it's going to be more like project based and feeling into, okay, what do you want to do today? What do you want to learn? Because eventually, they're going to want to do a project like, I want to learn later on. I want to learn coding, and that's going to involve, then they're going to be motivated to learn the math involved, to learn the computer things involved, to learn whatever, like, or I want to learn to make a pizza. Then they're going to learn, not only like the physical cooking, but also fractions and math and, you have and reading the recipe. So there's a lot of, when it comes to homeschooling, that's how I see it happening. Okay. Especially for a Cancer, because you're really, fostering his emotional world, and you're fostering his rhythm. You're being really sensitive to his rhythm and not interrupting it, because that is going to speed up his train of thought. School slows down thought, if I'm being very blunt. Not always. Sometimes, I mean, if your kid's begging to go to school, put them in. Like, no judgment. Like, you're not. But as a rule, if they're not drawn to school, they can actually get smarter without the classroom, right? Because they're not being molded and shaped and kind of controlled and coerced. Um, which is what you have to do if you have 20 kids in a room. You have to kind of be like corral, right? And that's perfectly fine. But when it comes to homeschooling, it's about letting their speed of thought enhance. So, yeah, this is kind of my dream. I'm kind of passionate about this. But the day to day can be kind of hard because it does require so much focus, right? And so finding like a balance with focus, and getting help from others. Okay. Obviously, feel a lot about that one. Hello, Rose. I swear I'm also thinking about moving. Yeah, this moving. Is there something going on with the astrology? Yep. Yep. Got onto that one. Perfect, perfect. I've been getting a lot of premonition dreams about the most random things. However, I've noticed the premonitions are clouded by my lucid state. Is there a way to get clearer messages? Yeah, Rose, I so yes. So what's happening is it's like when the lucid, what you're calling lucid state is probably beta wave, beta brain wave. And it's like, oh, we have these these premonitions, and then thinking about them, it's kind of like we're in the right brain with premonitions, and it's like, oh yeah, I feel amazing, and we're like, oh, but then the left brain comes in and analyzes, or lucid, is in a lucid dreaming state, and that's when it's like clouding it, or that's kind of when we forget. So with this, it's kind of state-based learning. Like if you were to kind of go back into an alpha state or get back into um meditation even, I bet if you sat down to meditate, you would start remembering your dreams. That's what happens to me. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, then this happened, then this happened." And then I actually make it a practice that first thing in the morning, as soon as I wake up, I, like, sit up. I'm like, no talking. I don't let myself actually, I usually either lay down and do this with my eyes. I keep my eyes closed because that kinda keeps you in alpha. And then I go over the dream so that like the left and right brain kind of start overlapping. Okay. And so I do it still lying down. When I first wake up, I go over my dreams, whatever I can remember, because it's kind of like imprinting from the right brain onto the left brain, or from alpha wave onto beta wave, right? Whatever is the best way to explain that. But yeah, that's how I'm clearer messages. I feel like is something, keep a dream journal by your bed and make a habit of waking up early and writing them down, because I think also a lucid dreaming practice will also help you with that. Yeah. Yeah, because the premonition dreams are kind of trying to move you into a flow state in your life. And so lucid dreaming is going to kind of get you there, as well as consciously getting into the flow state. Hello, D galore. where I am in my journey, I know that my guides guide me and have guided me, and I kind of know when it's them. I don't know all their names exactly, but I'm okay with that for now until my soul wants more info. Yeah. Degalora, I've been wanting to connect with dolphins in a quantum way to guide me and learn their wisdom. Any advice on how to do that during meditation or dream time? Yeah, right. Yeah, and that's kind of how it starts. So when we're connecting with our guides, we really feel them first. They're with us all the time, and we really feel them, right? We don't always have to, see them because they're there whether we see them or not. They're there helping us whether we see them or not, whether we're aware of it or not. That doesn't matter. But becoming aware of it is a really beautiful practice in intuition development. And that's why I like to start there. Whenever I'm doing, my intuition development clients, we start with meeting your spirit guides. So yeah, wanting to connect with dolphins usually means that you're already connected to dolphins. It usually means like I call them like dolphin soul. So I call you guys like dolphin souls, where it's during meditation or dream time. Absolutely. They're really one of the easiest dolphins. So wild dolphins are how I learned how to communicate with animals. They are so easy. If you want to open up telepathically or get into animal communication, start with dolphins. Or really start with your pet, but start with dolphins. They are the easiest animals to communicate. They kind of just blast you open. They like buzz it into you. You can't really stifle it as much because they have such a powerful sonic, like, sonar, and so connecting with them telepathically kind of probably means that you're getting into, like, sound, and you're getting into sound waves and music and clairaudience. That's really kind of where their guidance is. They're very, very telepathic, and they like to connect to people all the time. They love sound, like, they love sonic frequency. So I would connect with dolphins during meditation. Well, for dream time, like, hold the intention before you fall asleep. I want to connect with the dolphin guides. I want to swim with them tonight, and try that. But during meditation, use, the solfeggio frequencies, or, use the binaural beats, and then dolphin sounds, because that will get you into that vibration. And then you'll kind of start like seeing them. You'll like see them swimming. All dolphins are all about joy and happiness and laughter and play. So anything that you can do to get into those things, that's going to be right on into the dolphin guidance, into those dolphin guides. So, yeah, that's what I that's what I would do. Yeah. I don't know if dolphins are my guides. Yeah, I feel like if you're asking about, asking them as your guides, then when it comes to, if we're not sure if something is our guides, but we want to connect with something, that's how it works. We can ask to work with someone. We can ask to work with an animal or a being or a person. You can be like, "Oh, I personally love Saint Francis." But it's not like I say, "Oh, Saint Francis is my guide," but I love him so much that I call him in as my guide. Okay, or whatever you are interested in, know that you can kind of call them in as your spirit guide. It's because you're really just invoking their energy out of, it's kind of like patterning, or kind of like a mentorship. You would go and get a mentor because you like their energy and you want some part of that in your life. And you do that in the spirit realm as well. I do that with herbs all the time. We kind of do that when we work with dolphin, or oh yeah, you're a singer. There you go. Yeah. So I think they definitely are your guides then, because it's about making sounds. So I think too, yeah. So they're definitely your guides. If you're a singer, if you're a writer and singer, they're definitely, I mean, I was just seeing you as a dolphin actually. So that's kind of what I meant, by dolphin people. But the spirit guides are really just showing us more of who we are, really. And we can also ask, we can invoke kind of people, we can call in guides. Like, I really want to connect, to the spirit of Mary or whoever, you can call in that energy as your guide. Okay. So it's really about modeling, it's about finding someone or power animal or, a master that embodies, or even a person that embodies the practice and the energy that you want to embody, and kind of like use their energy, like invoke their energy as like a model, as something to aspire to, right? Because you're pulling in that energy so that you can start kind of building that into yourself and becoming more, yeah, kind of like for attunement. You're starting to align with that energy. All right. Let's see what I had here in my notes. Okay, I think I covered everything I had written down. So what I wanted to do was, I think sometime next week, and I'm talking about this on my Instagram. So I don't know how many of you guys are on my Instagram, but I've been on my stories. I've been talking about doing a 10-day free meditation group, like a free guided meditation group, 9 p.m. Central. It'll be like just 20 or 30 minutes. You'll come on, um, and it'll probably just be me, because I'm going to record them and post them for people that can't make it. But just guided meditations for intuition development that just gets you into the energy of relaxation, into the energy of connection, and just really setting kind of like just the intention for developing your intuition and connecting to your guides, to the other side, to your own spiritual growth, into your life purpose. Okay, so be on the lookout for more info on that on my Instagram. That I'm probably going to start next week. And then remember, tomorrow night is Dr. Suman's healthcare group. And yeah, his holistic healthcare group tomorrow night, and the link is down below. And then next week is his meditation support group. So those two, tomorrow and next week, his are donation based. So just pop on in. Okay, Starry, how do we even begin to find out who our personal spirit guides are? So that's a good question. I have a couple of videos about this in my channel. So when it comes to finding out who your guides are, I have a process that I take my clients through, where we do that, where we get into, you just get into a relaxed, comfortable place of trust. We really find out who our guides are when we're just trusting the first thing we get, right? So I would just do this practice really quickly, where you just close your eyes, take a deep breath, and call in your spirit guide. I mean, who is my spirit guide? Who is with me? And then just kind of feel them approaching right next to you. And then trust the first thing you see. And just kind of start with describing them, maybe describe the hair, maybe describe the face or what they're wearing. And it's just about getting really still, out of the mind, into the breathing, into the breath, and just trusting the first thing you get about who your spirit guide is. And then it's kind of like meeting a friend after that. Feel about their energy and what they say. Really, you should feel uplifted. You should feel uplifted, you should feel connected, energized. Sometimes I even feel a little like, ooh, like a little anxious. Like I feel a little anxiety even because it's really excitement. It has just translated to me as anxiety. So I would say to to trust really if you're having trouble really trusting what you're getting, then maybe, a have someone help you meet your spirit guides, like have a practitioner support you doing that, do a regression or, like a meet your spirit guides regression to really just have someone kind of be there with you. And this is what I help people do where we get in there together, we work on trusting, and the whole process is intuition development. Getting to know who your spirit guides are is an intuitive, it develops your intuition. It practices your clairvoyance, all of the clairs really. And it develops self-trust. It develops trust in in yourself. It develops trust in what you are receiving for yourself. So it's a really beautiful practice just for that. Because then whenever you need more insight or when I'm like sitting down, to do my work, I'm like asking my guides, like, what is it that I need to know? What is it that, my client needs to know? And I just stay open to receive and I just start receiving. And I usually kind of write everything down. And then that gives me like a template for my readings. I take it into my readings and I'm present with the energy, but I have kind of like a template too. It kind of depends on it always depends on the client and what direction they want to take. But that is why getting to know your spirit guides is so helpful, because getting to know them like organically, getting to know them in an organic way is you getting to know yourself in a spiritual way, because your guides are going to represent an aspect of you. They'll either be a past life of yours, or they'll be your higher self, right? But then we can also, like I was describing earlier, call in beings that we want to work with or beings that we're drawn to. And it might be that we're drawn to them because they're already with us, they're already working with us, we're already connected. And our sense of being drawn to something is because we have a spiritual connection. That happens all the time. I'll do past life regressions with people and they're like, "Oh, I just saw that because I love that century," or, whatever, and or I love that country. And I'm like, "Well, why do you think you love it?" This we love the things that we love and we're drawn to and are like make us feel like that spark is because we have some sort of connection and we don't always remember, right? We don't always, it's a spiritual connection sometimes, not a physical one always. All right. So I feel like that is everything I wanted to discuss with you all. Yeah. So no, you don't need an Instagram account. If you don't have an Instagram account, I was going to send out the Zoom invite. I was going to put it on my Instagram account and send out the Zoom invite for the meditation group via email. So you can email me. If you go to my website, you can email me through that and I can send you the Zoom link as soon as I figure out what day we're going to start. Okay. So, yeah, that is another option. Well, let's see. I get to everyone. Yes. Thank you all. Thank you guys so much. I had a ton of fun doing mini readings for you all. I feel like just you guys are all feeling this. You're probably all feeling this Mars Pluto square Jupiter thing going on right now. So it feels a little bit antsy, like, okay, what's going to happen next in the world? But I definitely feel like all we have to do when we're in kind of an area of uncertainty is just stay centered and keep doing your work, keep feeling. So, you guys have a wonderful evening. Have a beautiful night. It was so much fun. And I will see you next month for the next one. Bye. Thank you.